Anyway, yeah, if you're watching us on the Twitch right now, you can see Dylan with his lovely top knot.
It's nice.
It's a very
he really fits in the PNW now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very Pacific Northwest
Adam
stylings.
is super jelly.
I am jelly because my hair is so thin that if I tried to do a top knot, it would look like Barbie hair draped over Telly Savalas. If that nobody knows who that is anymore. I don't know why. All right. Hi, I'm old.
I am also old, but I'm also Cliff.
Are you old enough to know who Telly Savalas is?
I do know who Telly Savalas is, yeah.
I'm the Dylan.
I didn't even say hi, I'm Adam.
That's okay. You're just old.
But he said he was Cliff.
I'm old and
I
Cliff.
know.
And when he says he's Cliff, then I say I'm the Dylan. Like, I don't care what you said. That's not my cue.
Right. Well, I'm Adam. To bring it all the way back, welcome to the Bite Me Podcast, episode 75. We are 3/4 of a century old.
Right? That's a lot of I love those episodes that feel very monumental for absolutely no reason. 75 is not really significantly different than 74 or 76, but there's something about 75 that just feels good.
It's a nice number.
It feels good. Yeah.
It's a number. All right, so we are going to get into some news this week's. Blizzard takes a better late than never approach to games sometimes. What is games sometimes?
I don't think that I wrote that right.
I don't think so either, because that doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, we'll figure that out, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah, okay. Hardware hackers might have cracked the Switch. I read about this earlier. I don't know what I'd be able to do with it.
Oh, I do.
Oh, okay. Xbox users can finally try out the Miramar map in PUBG. Valve bought Firewatch dev Campo Santo. Did they buy them, or did they just say, hey, would you be interested in buying us?
They bought them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Were they up for sale?
I think it was a mutually exclusive discussion that led to a purchase.
Okay. Yeah. If you like the Discord, like a lot of our listeners do, because they're all in our channel, you will soon be able to link your Discord account to your Xbox account, which is going to be super cool.
Right.
Call of Duty 4. Cauliflower.
Cauliflower 4!
I made the best riced cauliflower the other night. It was rice cauliflower, and it was garlic and sesame oil and some other stuff in there.
We're very old.
But it was really, really good.
I made cauliflower pizza one time. It was really good.
Oh, that's really good. I made cauliflower cheesy bread.
Oh, yeah.
And that was really good, too. But Call of Duty 4
is different.
Is totally different. And it will not have a single-player campaign. Is that official?
I believe so. And I don't think cauliflower has a single-player campaign either.
I mean...
I guess if you just eat it by yourself.
You could eat a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
Plus, we got questions from Vinny, Seth Harker, Garrett, Joe Coleslaw, Mansocks, some cheap free games, and a troll corner. We got a two-part troll corner this week. But first, we start with what we are playing, and Dylan.
News!
No. What are you playing?
That's how much Dylan's paying attention today.
Yeah, you're playing Doodle on your iPad?
I was trying to change it up for once, but you found out.
Yeah.
Liar.
No, I really haven't been playing much, to be completely honest. So when the weather starts changing and it becomes spring, I do spring cleaning, but on my electronics. I spent hours on my computer, getting old files off and getting stuff that doesn't work. Because I have this, it's a mid-2009 iMac, but I spent a lot of money in 2009 to get, an i7 at the time and to get better stuff internally. So it still runs really well, but it was 50 gigs left on it, for example.
Oh, man.
Out of a terabyte hard drive, and I just, purge stuff off of it so it, at least can...
You need to drop an SSD in that
function.
puppy.
I have one. I'm just waiting for the day to set it down
so
on the
easy
table and pop the glass off and put an SSD in it.
Oh,
but
that's not so easy to do.
Because it's not hard, apparently, but
it's more work than doing it at a desktop.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've been doing. And as we have said, I have been playing a lot of Doodle. Because I did get one of the new iPads, because the other day my mom was like, hey, you want a new iPad? And I was like, no, not really. But then literally the next day they announced the new iPad that supports the Apple Pencil. And I was like, I revoke what I said previously. I do want a new iPad.
We talked our boss into buying one. I mean, not talked him into it. He was his granddaughter was looking for something for his granddaughter. Yeah, wanted one for drawing on. And we're like, oh, this is cool, and it's a good deal. And he'd been looking into the iPad Pros, which are almost twice as much. And we're like, no, get this one. And he brought it into the office, and we both drew on it. And we're pretty much sold.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
So I have been doing a lot of that because it's a lot of fun. Like, I'm not a drawing artist.
It's
I
really
just
good.
saw what
It's
you were
actually
drawing.
really good,
You're
yeah.
way better than I am. I could show you the one doodle that I can do, and that's it.
I'm more of a doodler,
Yeah.
but it really helps you kind of like, you can just freely experiment without the like, oh, I put the wrong color on that and now it's ruined. Like, you can totally just undo. And the technology itself is just amazing how it knows the difference between my finger and my pencil. So like, my finger does something differently. Hey, that's pretty.
That's my
not
doodle.
bad.
That's my
That's
doodle.
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it, but that's my doodle. It's terrible.
So I've actually been doing that in my spare time.
The Procreate software is incredible too for something that costs $10.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely amazing.
Super powerful, super fun, limitless possibilities. And like, I think Cliff and I's new favorite thing is just to like zen out and watch YouTube videos of people
Drawing
things, like time lapse of them drawing in Procreate.
That's all I've been doing for like 3 days.
It's just fascinating. Like, it blows my mind what people can accomplish.
Yeah.
$1 million Twitch stream idea, Dylan Doodles.
Yeah.
It's even got the alliteration. It's really good.
Like, I'm an below average artist that just streams my drawings.
The cool thing is you can plug your iPad right into a Mac and
do
it right from there. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I would like 20%.
Excellent.
I'll think about it.
Okay. Cliff, what are you playing?
Well, I've been playing Far Cry 5.
Yeah.
Because
You're so close.
I just can't stop.
Right.
It's so good. I am within. I mean, like I could have actually finished the game probably 6 or 7 hours ago. Maybe even a little longer. I think last Friday, I got to the point where I got enough points in the third area to actually be able to go in and fight the father. But I wanted to clear out that entire area first, so I'm down to I've got one Clutch Nixon challenge left, which I hate those things.
I haven't even delve into those yet.
Oh, they're just so outside the realm of the normal game that you almost have to like practice them in order to beat them, because you're not going to get a lot of the skills you need to do it unless you play the game a certain way. Like, I don't spend a lot of time in that game driving vehicles or driving airplanes or driving helicopters because
I don't like the vehicle control in this game.
That's the point. They're terrible. And then having to do time-based missions based on, it's very much you get in a car and you have to drive. Two of the different challenges is you're on fire and you have to drive through like the little like gates you drive through, like put water on you so you don't light on fire worse, I guess. But they're, it's very much, you start out with 15 seconds and you've got to hit all those gates and you get an extra 5 seconds every gate you go through. I did one 2 nights ago, I want to say, and it was you're racing on one of the quads, which are impossible to steer. They swerve, the back end of them will swerve out, if you missteer at all. And it was a really, really, really long course. And 2 times in a row, I finished with like point, I went over the marker by maybe a 10th of a second, a 20th of a second, and then had to do the entire race all the way over again.
No.
They're super frustrating. So I've got one of those left. It's a wingsuit one, and the wingsuit is
I think I've just unlocked that perk. Maybe?
So the thing about the wingsuit perk is you unlock the wingsuit perk and then unlock the perk that lets you, when you fast travel, you can choose whether or not you want to end up on the ground or if you want to be able to wingsuit. And so like when you fast travel, they'll just drop you off in the air like maybe 350 feet above your target, which is awesome on those places where you want to fast travel somewhere but you don't have a marker to fast travel next to. So they'll drop you in the air and then you can wingsuit to where you want to get to.
Okay.
So that's a super handy. And I got better at wingsuiting because I started doing that a lot, or just when I'm up high I just jumped off things and wingsuited to the next place. But it's still like those wingsuit challenges are really hard. So I've got that left, and then I've got, in the first area you go around and you blow up like the little temples.
The silos?
The silos, sorry. Yeah. So
yeah.
The first area has silos, the second area has temples, and the third area has like wolf calls or something. And so there's 10 wolf calls, and I've got 9 of them. So I need to find the last one, beat the wingsuit mission, and then I'm good to go.
So you're 100%ing this game.
Well, yeah.
Basically.
I'm going to 100% the map. I'm not going to 100% the achievements for it.
Oh yeah, no.
But yeah, I'll 100% the game.
Cool.
So yeah, real close, real close. Super good game.
I played a little Far Cry 5. after our show last week. I'm in Faith's area now, which I was hoping I was going to get through everything before God of War came, because according to Amazon, it was going to be here between the 26th and like the 29th. And it came yesterday on the 23rd. So yeah, I started playing that last night. And that's probably all I'm going to be playing for a while. I know a lot of people are already playing it, obviously, because it came out last Friday. I got the Stonemason edition, which if you're on our Facebook or our Instagram, I posted my unboxing photos kind of thing, just staged everything up and took some cool photos.
It's a sweet statue.
Yeah.
Like, I sat in here earlier and just looked at it for 2 minutes because the detail is great for a resin statue. It is really attractive.
It's real cool. And he's in my office window.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
You will be going home with me.
No, it will not. I'm kind of curious to see if any like of our weird nerdy overnight guys are going to be like, oh, what is that? And like I show up and Kratos is gone tomorrow.
My boss came into my office earlier and he's like, so Adam's like walking around with a statue? Like, what's he up to? I'm like, well...
Yeah, just have to listen to the show and find out.
And then we spent a bunch of time talking about God of War, and he asked a lot of very interesting questions about it. Our boss is in his mid-60s and doesn't game really, so
I learned him real good.
Yeah, he was very interested in the concepts behind it and stuff. It was fun.
It's really cool. And of course the reviews are all out there, and it's getting amazing reviews across the board. I'm a longtime huge God of War fan. It's my favorite, franchise, favorite series. And I was really worried when they first revealed that initial trailer, last E3 last year?
Sure, yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Or maybe
I think so.
even before that?
Yeah.
I was really worried that it was going to be not a God of War game because it just looks so drastically different.
Yeah.
But thankfully, thank God of War, it is, it's a straight up God of War game.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
I'm really excited. I got it from GameFly yesterday, and so I got to finish up Far Cry. I'm hoping to finish Far Cry tonight. I may give up on that wingsuit mission. I don't know. So I won't 100% it. I might 99% it.
I'm curious to know what you think about it, because
I've never
you've
played
never played a God of War game, and I've talked to a couple other people who've never played a God of War game, and I'm like, how did you make it through the last two console generations being a PlayStation fan and not?
The funny thing is I own a PlayStation, but I didn't PlayStation game a lot. I bought a PlayStation 3 because I wanted a Blu-ray player.
Right.
And so almost everything I played was on the Xbox. There were a ton of PlayStation exclusives that I've never played. I never played the Uncharted series either.
Oh, they're really good.
And I never played The Last of Us until I got my PS4.
That's really good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you've played God of War before and you're worried about it not being a God of War game, it's a God of War game. The combat is just as fast, it's just as quick, it's just a different camera. And that single camera shot style that they're doing for this game it's literally my favorite thing
I'm excited.
I think I've ever experienced in a game. It's so cool.
I'm hoping to have 5 or 10 hours into it by next week.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm hoping to have it done by next week.
Nice.
But
That's
anyway,
a commitment, sir.
So that's what I've been playing.
I like it.
Yeah, that's that. If you're listening to us via iTunes, you can leave us a review.
Please do.
Please do, because we might put you in Troll Corner Part 1.
Yes.
So when you post, so we got a review, evidently, and Cliff posted this weird screen cap in our Slack chat, and I'm like, what is that? And you didn't get back to me, and I'm like, I wonder. So I start flipping through, and I go to our reviews on the podcast player for Apple. I'm like, oh, there it is. We got a 1-star review.
It's our first 1-star review. I think that's when you've made it, right?
Exactly.
When someone hates you enough to go through a process that's not exactly easy or intuitive to say how much they hate you.
Yes. So shout out, big ups to Godzilla 18. Terrible for every reason ever! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! 4 of them.
And I've got to say, you can hate our show. That's fine. But our audio quality is great. So we are not terrible for every reason ever. Terrible for every reason ever except audio quality.
Yeah,
we sound
production
great.
value is 100. We knocked it out of the park.
110. But anyway, Godzilla 18, thank you for that.
Yeah, appreciate it.
If you'd like a sticker, that's what we say.
Send us your address,
rate us
buddy.
and review us. Send us your address. We'll send you a sticker. It might be in an envelope with some white powder, but it'll be a sticker.
We would never do that.
We would never. That's just silly.
I would actually send you a sticker.
Yeah, honestly,
I'd probably send you 2 stickers.
Right?
Yeah.
One for you and one for your bad taste. All right. But you could also leave us a review like Technophobic Robot.
Which I
Look
love
how
the way
did
he
that.
spells his name. It's great.
How was I able to read that, but
'Cause
I
you're
can't read
smart.
Captain Insano?
I don't know, man.
Technophobic Robot. This might be my new favorite video game podcast. It's a group of chill and down-to-earth fellas. They deliver their content in a way where I never feel like staunch or rigid opinions are being forced on me as a listener. Unless you're wrong. No, I'm kidding. That was my part. Looking forward to hearing more. Of course, I might be a little biased since I live in Northwest Washington and I'm a web developer as well. Keep it up, guys.
Hey, I'm a web developer that lives in Washington.
If you
rate
wrote
us.
this,
I did not write it. I would never have a name as cool as Technophobic Robot.
Yeah, he's not-
like literally,
he's
my
not
name
that
everywhere is
creative.
just Cliff.
right? I'm a West Prod
Yeah.
everywhere.
Anyway, I like this guy.
Yeah.
You first of all, you should come see us.
Oh, yeah. Come see us at the Renton RetroCon. It's happening this Saturday, the 27th, in Renton at the Thing with the Place.
Yeah, just search for Renton
We'll,
RetroCon.
The Renton
We'll post
Convention
about
Center.
it too. It's kind of, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's where it's been for the last couple of years, evidently.
Yeah, come hang out. We're gonna have some like NES minis. You can play some retro games. We'll have stickers.
Yeah.
And we're actually gonna try and do a little podcasty stuff and find out like what people's favorite retro games are. So
That would be very
yeah,
cool.
so come see us if you're there.
Yeah, and we can
if you're
give you
around.
your sticker in person.
In person, because I'm terrible at mailing them. I still owe James one, and I feel terrible.
I've
and
got a
James.
couple of prizes here from our kids' fair
Oof.
that I've not dropped in the mail yet.
yeah, I'm just terrible. So I'm gonna try and get me your address. I'll do both of them this week, and
But also want to say congratulations to what was his name? I think I've got it right here. His name is Justin. He won our gift card, $50 gift card to GameStop from
congrats,
the
Justin.
Northwest Kids Fair this past weekend. And he sent me a text yesterday saying he got his card. Holy crap, it's $50. I didn't know that.
Nice.
And then we talked about God of War a little bit.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
That event was very long and very hard, but man, we met
Lots
some
of kids.
awesome kids. Lots of kids. Wow.
Yeah.
Who knew something called the Kids Fair would have a bunch of kids? Who knew? But we met some cool people and some cool kids, and it was fun.
Yeah, the kids, I got to say, too, for it being there was roughly 10,000 people, I want to say, total. And I'm going to say a good 80% of that was children.
Yeah.
All those kids that stopped by our booth, with the exception of maybe two,
Yeah.
were really cool kids.
Yeah.
They were great. They were into games. They didn't know how to use a Switch, but
Yeah, I was really surprised by
Yeah.
that. The number of people that had just never held a Switch controller before.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think
that's
because we're kind of in that
Big surprise.
business or whatever you will say. I'm like a Switch just makes sense, and you'd hand them to the kids, and they wanted to hold the single Joy-Cons like almost a remote control, like
Yeah.
sideways, like you'd hold a Wii U controller or a Wii controller. Yeah, so
But no, all those kids were super fun.
Very fun.
And we've got another one of those coming up if you happen to be in the Pacific Northwest. It's coming up in June in Puyallup at the Washington State Fairgrounds.
June
So,
14th.
God, I hope not, because that's the day after my birthday. And
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
going to be in any kind of shape to be there around kids.
Whatever.
It's whatever. But anyway, so yeah, like us, rate us, review us, drop us some info on you, and we'll get you some free stuff.
Please, please.
So thank you, Godzilla 18
June 9th.
and Technophobic Robot. On June 9th. Okay. All right. All that's done. We start in now with what?
News 2!
That's good.
Is it news 2?
I think so. That's like news, comma TOO.
News also?
News also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump right into it. Blizzard is taking a better late than never approach to games.
Yeah, this was just bad. I apologize for this headline.
I don't know what happened there.
I don't either. Sometimes I'm in a hurry writing headlines for our show notes. And what I was trying to say is that 9 years ago, I believe, Blizzard said, hey, StarCraft 2 is a vaguely relevant game. I mean, like, I guess probably StarCraft 2 probably came out. When did StarCraft 2 come out? I don't even know if it was relevant 9 years ago, to be honest.
Yeah. I can't even remember.
But anyway, they said, what we're going to do is we're going to build like a shop where people, like creators, like not people that work for Blizzard, but just you regulars, could make maps for StarCraft 2 and you could put them on there and sell them.
They said this 9 years ago?
9 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I believe this week that finally launched. And so, on one hand, you have to kind of, I don't know, give them a little bit of props for their commitment to actually following through on these things.
They probably didn't need to,
Because they
honestly.
probably didn't need to. But it came out. It's got 2 maps in it. Map packs are like $5, and some of that money's going to the original creators. So
That's cool.
I guess props to to you guys.
And I mean, StarCraft 2 has still got to be kind of relevant because I honestly I feel like I hear about somebody like dying in a Korean internet cafe playing StarCraft 2.
It's like the national sport of Korea. So,
okay.
I mean, like they play a lot of that game. So, I mean, like I said, more power to them to actually do it. And apparently they're really good as well. So, you've got to give them like some props, some follow through, but goodness gracious.
Right, but what I love about the article is that the release dates of the maps have yet to be confirmed.
Right. Yeah,
so, like, again, 9 years later, hey, that thing we said, it's still on the way.
So apparently that must have happened to be, let's see, did I say 2009? Or it was 9 years ago, so yeah, 2009.
Yeah.
Apparently that was pre-release of the game because the game came out in 2010.
Oh, wow.
So, good on them, right?
All right, well, good for you guys.
I like it.
Before we get to the next one, since we're going to be talking about the Switch, I want to throw one in here real quick because I don't know if we all saw this. So remember when, what's the company? D-Brand that offers the, like they offer all the skinning and mods or whatever for your phones or for your game systems or your game pads or whatever. So initially when they started doing ones for the Nintendo Switch, you couldn't put them on without damaging the actual material on the Switch. Now it is safe to skin your Switch.
Oh, very cool.
They've got some new upgraded like materials. They've been working with 3M.
Yeah, it was like the adhesive that would eat away at your Switch controller.
So they've been working for the last year with 3M to create a unique adhesive that won't wreck the design.
That's way cool.
And so you can skin your entire Switch Joy-Cons, everything front and back, blah, 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 for about $28. And that includes a tempered glass.
That's really
for
cool.
the front.
That's really
cool. And they've
cool.
got some really cool, like, different colored, like, carbon fiber type designs, and then just some straight flat out matte colors.
I really want to do not just the skinning, but where you actually like pull
take
the plastic off and do the clear ones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think Per Schneider, Adam's Facebook friend Per Schneider, has a like see-through.
He's got like 100 different switches.
Oh my god, like dude, I think he only has like a couple switches, but he has probably what did we decide? Like 25, 26 Joy-Cons,
something like that.
Probably 26 because they're a pair, so like 13 pair.
Right.
But I think it's him or maybe Tom Marks who writes for IGN as well. Has a see-through purple pair that are just dope. And I've got the gray ones. I wanted the neon ones and I couldn't get them.
See, I've got the neon ones and I like the neon ones, so I don't know if I want to mess with those, but I would go buy just a pair of
They're
gray
so expensive though. To do it with.
To switch out. And I kind of want to do the case on my Switch as well. But if you don't want to mess with your Switch and you don't want to take it apart and you don't want to maybe screw it up completely and spend way less money, you can switch it now. Switch it. See what I did?
Oh.
You can skin it with D-Brand stuff.
That's cool.
Because they're very, very cool.
Very cool.
So there is that. Next article of interest about the Switch. There's a major Switch exploit that could lead to piracy and or homebrew.
Yeah, so and that's
it has to do with the processing architecture.
Yeah, and so essentially, like the method of it is probably less than interesting to everyone, but essentially it uses the Switch uses an NVIDIA chip, much like the GeForce line of video cards, and they found essentially a hardware exploit that allows you to run other code at boot time, and so that's just essentially the first step in essentially hacking a Switch, so you could run homebrew games or games that aren't supported on it, or like what I would be interested in is it'll allow you to run like SNES emulators on it, or I mean on that hardware probably N64 emulators or MAME emulators, and I'm not interested in pirating games for the Switch. It would also allow for that. But I think the Switch is such a cool form factor. I would love to be able to play, Final Fantasy on my Switch, or and eventually the eShop will open up, and maybe that won't matter.
And then you can pay for it.
But there will never probably be a MAME, emulator on Switch or a Genesis emulator on Switch. So there's some cool stuff you can do, and so that's like the first step.
Right.
So,
and what's interesting about this though is as of right now, there's no way to fix it,
and there will never be a way to fix it because it's a hardware. So they'll actually have to re-architecture the chips that are running on these. So
there's no way to patch that out ever.
No. Because it's a hardware exploit.
Wow.
Or more appropriately, I'm sure there is a way to patch it out, but because it exists at a hardware level, it'll just be
something they could work around.
It'll be a leapfrog of, hey, we fixed it, and then they'll crack it again. They fixed it, and they'll crack it again. They fixed it, and they'll crack it again. So It's a pretty big deal if you're into that kind of homebrew emulation scene on the Switch.
I never did any of the homebrew stuff.
Yeah,
I never
I've played around with it. I was
or
more
anything.
like I soft modded my original Xbox to play emulators on. I soft modded my Wii too. So
I used to root and jailbreak phones.
Yeah.
And I would put emulators and weird stuff on there, and that was fun. They would work mostly.
It's one of those things that it's a little bit like in an online world where your Switch is always connected to something. It's a little more dangerous. Like I'd always thought about doing like my Xbox 360, but it got to the point on the Xbox 360 where if they detected that you were using, because I don't know if there was soft modding for that. I think it was actually a hardware mod. And if they detected you were using one, they'd kill your Xbox account.
What?
So like it got a little more dangerous. And so the Switch may be the same thing.
Right.
It may just be
it's there, but you might not want to do it because they could very easily
exactly,
find out.
or you'll just always have to remember to turn off your Wi-Fi, that kind of thing. So.
Gotcha.
Anywho.
All right. Up next, PUBG. Is that still a thing? Do people still play PUBG? I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
It's what I
hear.
didn't wait. There was just wasn't there just a PUBG like esport event?
Big esport. I think it's
Fortnite?
upcoming. Like $2.5 million in prize money for PUBG. So it's real money.
Dylan,
So-
are you going to get in on that?
No,
I
we were
don't-
chatting about that in the Discord
Yeah.
earlier. And Mansocks and I are the same opinion that game is not ready for esports.
No.
Oh God, no.
I mean, power to them if they want to use it to generate money and sales, whatever. But your game's not
Well, I just have a hard
up
time.
to snuff to be an esport.
To me, an esport with PUBG is either going to be a game where, because I mean, you play 100 people randomly on the internet, you probably have one or two people that are really good in every
Right.
map. You have 100 really good players playing each other. Either it's going to be just a like jank fest where each one of them is using weird exploits in order to be good, or you're going to get down to the end and they're like, they won, and you're like, are you sure? And it's going to be a lot of weird replay stuff to see
Right.
what actually happens. So
It does seem like it's gonna be interesting,
Yeah.
like to see like you put 100 of the best players in one game, what happens. It's kind of weird too. Like I'm curious to see how they even set up.
yeah.
Like, is it just what? Like, I would love it if it was one round. Pick the 100 best players, let them go play one game. 20 minutes, it's done.
That's an interesting
$2 million,
idea.
$2 million
I wonder-
to the
it's-
winner.
it's probably
because that's
more-
in theory that's the theme of the game. Like, you should only need to play one game.
Yeah, my guess is it'll probably be my guess is they'll have more than 100 people that want to play.
Right.
So yeah,
I'm
it'll
sure
be
there would
rounds.
be some sort of point system
Or something.
to get to some.
Yeah, like-
like you place and accumulate so many points, and then they're going to take the top.
Okay.
100
'Cause, yeah,
players,
how do you
and
take-
then I don't know. It's such a bizarre game. I mean, I don't think any game's ever played that way and been put into a tournament before. So
Yeah, and I'm not really familiar with how, because I know there is an esport version of kind of like the Call of Duty multiplayer, and even like
right. Like, are they going to do a smaller game? Like,
yeah,
to me, like if you honestly did this as an esport, I would make a smaller map that
Which don't they have a smaller map now?
yeah.
It was a beta for it,
Yeah.
or a testing for it, but smaller map, higher optimization. Make sure it runs really great because you don't really need 100 people in a survival game like that. Like you encounter 5 people through the whole game.
Yeah.
So why do you need 100?
Well, and I think the question is does that, if you win that, does that really mean you're the best?
No,
it just
absolutely
means that
not.
you happen to drop in the right place. Other people
Right.
happen to drop. So I don't think you can have one game that determines who's the winner.
yeah.
I'd be very interested in watching that tournament or seeing at least how that tournament's going to
Yeah.
run.
There's a lot of questions. I think that's a huge discussion in itself. Of like how this game exists as an esports game beyond can it actually run?
Interesting. Yeah.
Right. But if you happen to play PUBG on the Xbox, I've got it. I just haven't played it much since I bought it.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I bought it and played it for a day or two and haven't played much more.
The desert map that came out,
A couple months ago.
The end of the year.
Yeah.
Miramar. It's coming to the Xbox One test servers
Today,
as of
actually.
today, as of this recording. If
Yeah,
you're watching
so-
on Twitch right now and you like the PUBG on the Xbox, go play because it's on the test server as of now.
No. Stay here
Yeah,
for the
when you're done.
podcast, and then when we're done, go play.
Right?
Yeah.
So the PUBG Miramar map is headed to the Xbox One in May, but the test server currently
Starts
has
today.
it.
Yep.
And if you've not played it, it's an interesting map. There's a lot more, from what I remember in the short couple of times I've played with it, it's the urban areas are definitely more vertical and more dense.
And way wide open outside of
Yeah,
them.
and then once you're outside of that, it's just desert wide open. and you don't want to go for a jog.
No.
Because you get picked off real quick.
Yeah.
Do you like the Miramar map, Dylan?
I do, but honestly, I don't think it plays better than the original map. I think it has a lot of shortcomings in the fact that it was so open. Like, if you wanted to get from urban area A to urban area B, good luck. Like, it felt disadvantageous to have to move, and I don't think that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Like, you should be able to navigate your way safely if you're conscious of it, and I think there's certain situations where that's not possible.
Because you can't just crawl from one urban area to the next.
Right. And yes, it's such this big sprawling area, and if you have the low ground and you got crap weapons after looting 42 buildings, and they have a rifle on the hill,
You're
good
done.
luck. Like, and that's not a fun experience. Yes, it's part of the game, but it's not fun.
I suppose the other PUBG news is on the PC, I believe. Soon, if not already, you're going to actually be able to choose your map. So
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah,
I
that'll be cool.
don't remember if they said yes or no. But
yeah, soon.
Well, there's that. There's your PUBG news.
Good.
Up next, Valve has purchased Firewatch developer Campo Santo.
Which is really interesting.
Is it interesting, exciting, or is it interesting, scary?
You know, I would say that there are a lot of companies that have a very bad habit of buying developers and doing very bad things with those. I would say EA would probably be your biggest example of that. But Valve actually, the thing people don't really think about Valve is outside of Half-Life, none of the other games that they've put out have been developed by Valve. Portal was made by another person. Left 4 Dead was made by another team. And Counter-Strike and all those were made by other teams that Valve then got and brought in and kind of assimilated into their corporate culture. So I'm really excited about this just because I absolutely adored Firewatch. You might have heard me talk about it 1 or 2 or 8,000 times.
I've heard you speak of it.
Yeah. And their next game, In the Valley of Gods, or In the Valley of the Gods, I don't remember.
In the Valley of Gods.
Looks absolutely amazing, and I think that working with Valve is going to give them access to a lot. I mean, Campo Santo is a small, they're 13 people, I think, as they said, or 12 or 13 people. So, they have Firewatch money, which is awesome. And that game sold well over 1 million copies. So, that's $20-30 million worth of money to play with. But, paying people costs money.
Right.
And they're relocating from San Francisco, which has a notoriously high cost of living, even compared to Seattle. And all of them the majority of them are going to be relocating from San Francisco to Seattle. So
Valve is here.
They're in Bellevue. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think the only person that isn't is their creative lead. And apparently she just moved away from here. So she's like, I'm not coming back.
Gotcha.
So I think this is great. I think it could lead to, first of all, I think it's going to make In the Valley of Gods a better game. And give Campo Santo the
just by giving them that
giving them the resources
financial
and
infusion.
Giving them and giving them access to really smart developers and really smart graphic artists and really it's I don't remember the guy's name. He used to work for PC Gamer and he made a video game called Heat something. I can't remember, but he was an editor for PC Gamer UK and then made a couple of Heat Signature, I think. And came over here and worked at Valve for like 6 months as he developed his game, just as kind of almost like an artist in residence kind of thing, from what I understand. And he said that just being able to go I don't know, I can't fix this problem, and be able to turn to 5 other incredibly smart engineers and going what do you guys think? Was huge. So I think it's going to make a better game. But I love the fact that Valve's getting back into making games again. And if they're going to do it by working with awesome indie studios, and Campo Santo has said this doesn't change the game, it doesn't change our working relationship, we just work for Valve now. So I think that's very exciting.
And since they're going to be local, maybe we can get a hold of them and be like, hey, you should come hang out with us.
They have their own podcast, but I would really like them to come on ours. If you don't listen to it, Idle Thumbs is a very good podcast.
And that's Valve's podcast?
No, it's people that worked on Firewatches.
Oh, okay.
So it goes back a little further.
Oh, maybe we could do a little crossover episode.
Woof.
Yeah. I love it.
I'm excited about it.
Good creative people, give them money and resources. You expect good results.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't think I need to say any more than that.
The nice thing about Valve is Valve takes a very, very, very hands-off approach to everything, which is good.
They're just like, make sure it's good so we can make money, and we won't mess with you.
Right, and but I mean, like their management structure is flat. Like they don't have. I mean, like it's Gabe and then everybody else.
Wow.
They all have like desks that can be moved, so they just reform teams at random.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And so I think that this is going to give them a lot of freedom and autonomy, but also enable them to make a better product. So I'm excited.
Another cool thing coming up, if you own an Xbox and you happen to like the Discord as well, you're going to soon be able to link your Discord account with your Xbox account.
Yeah,
and theoretically use that via your Xbox.
Not exactly yet.
Okay.
And that was what I first saw. I'm like, oh, sweet. Finally, we can fuse like Discord chat and Xbox chat, and that's not happening yet. And so what this will work like is, do you have your Discord tied to your Twitch? Or not Twitch, or just even allow it to say which game you're playing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you know how you'll
see.
So
like if I pop on, I can see somebody's playing. PUBG.
I remember how I was playing Overwatch for like 6 months.
Yeah.
It'll enable you to do that. So you'll be able to say, oh hey, a bunch of my friends on the Xbox are playing Sea of Thieves.
Right.
I can hop over and go play with them because now I know what they're playing, even if I'm on my PC, not my Xbox.
Gotcha.
But what I'm hoping is that this is like. And so that's all it is right now.
Right.
But what I'm hoping is that this might be just the first step in
like completely integrating it
completely
into
integrating. I would love to be able to merge. I started up a game on my Xbox and added a bunch of people into a party and then added 3 more people from Discord. Like that'd be absolutely awesome.
Yeah, that'd be really, really
hopefully
cool.
That's the next step. But for now,
and Discord's voice chat is so simple to use.
It really is. Once you figure it out, like I can never remember how to hang up.
It's not that hard to figure out.
Yeah.
Like it's just about hanging up. But it'd be really cool if they could make, because I've tried a couple of online like party games. I think one of them was actually Sea of Thieves with Dylan and Vinny and Kevin. And I don't know, trying to get into that voice chat, trying to get that party set up, it was kind of difficult.
Between Xboxes, it's super easy.
I don't know,
normally it's pretty easy. But when you pull in PC users, which Vinny was, it gets complicated.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So hey, that's cool. The rollout on the integration of Discord into Xbox is going to be happening in the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye out for that. Lastly, in our news, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is not going to have a traditional single-player campaign. It's instead going to focus on multiplayer and zombies and other stuff.
The word on the street is they just ran out of time.
Right.
They got to end. They're like, well, we can't finish the single player in time to actually launch it, so we're just not going to do it.
But I bet you they had time to get in a Battle Royale mode.
Yeah, there is a Battle Royale mode. Yeah, it's being built. It's not being built by, I think this is Treyarch's game this time around. It's being built by Ravensoft, I think. But, there's that. There's a zombie mode. And so, and the downside with all of those kind of games, Call of Duty and Battlefield and Battlefront and all that, is that nobody plays the single player game. Like everyone knows that nobody plays the single player game. It's like 5, 8, 10, 12% of people like start it and finish it. It's super low. Everyone gets it for the multiplayer.
Oh, I didn't know. I've never played a single Black Ops or
and the thing
Call
is,
of Duty
like,
or Battlefield
for me,
or anything.
I've never played the multiplayer, and all I play is the single player. So it's disappointing. But mostly what's really interesting to see is like, are people still going to be willing to pay $60 for a game that doesn't have a single player mode? And I mean, they did with the first Battlefront, but all they did was complain that there was no single player mode. So, I mean, and then they brought out a single player mode for Battlefront 2 and everyone just hated it. So whatever.
Well, you liked it.
I thought it was good. It was like a 7.5, maybe an 8. But are they going to be willing to pay that? And is the multiplayer, a lot of people are like, oh, cool. Well, that'll give them more time to work in the multiplayer and make the multiplayer good. But it doesn't sound like that's actually the case. It sounds like, oh, shoot, last minute, that game launches in October. We're just not going to have time to do it. So, I mean, I guess that gives them 5 months of being able to pull those teams together if they keep those resources on this game. Right. So it's an interesting conundrum. So I guess we'll see. I guess we'll know in, I think, early October. Yeah,
October 12th is when Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is scheduled for release on the PS4, Windows PC, and Xbox One.
Which is about a month early. That usually goes in November, but everyone's getting out of the way of Red Dead.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they're going to, show at E3, what they're actually going to say about it.
E3 is coming up like in a month and a half. I'm so excited.
I'm not going.
I'm not either.
Oh.
And it's actually the same weekend as Kids Fair. So, meh. We'll have a TV at the
I'll
booth.
gladly skip over a bunch of screaming children to go to E3 and have a bunch of screaming adult children, but it's fine. All right, there's all your news.
Aww.
All the news that's fit to news.
I don't know. We got through that quick.
Dylan drew a really nice giraffe while we were doing it, though.
Can I see the giraffe? Can we show it to our Twitch,
Yeah.
our Twitch viewers?
He's working on it. It's real nice.
How do you see? I can't draw.
He's got skills.
That's awesome.
Mad skills. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to play.
What you need is an iPad.
Yeah, you need an iPad with an Apple Pencil that turns you into an artist. Bang, bang, boom. Just like that.
Okay.
I don't even know what that means.
Me either.
It means bang, bang, boom.
I think I'm going to buy
terrible
one.
artist.
I want it so bad.
Just do it.
I make
You will
noise.
not be
I
a
can
regret.
make noise and music and stuff,
You
but I
make
can't.
beautiful noise, Adam. And you talk good, too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I do. All right. We have got questions from Seth, Garrett, Joe Coleslaw, Mansocks, and...
Hey, yo, Vinny. What's wrong with that, Adam?
Nothing.
I was really hoping he was going to go for News 3, but, you know,
Oh, yeah.
whatever.
No News 3.
I can't please anyone. I try to make a joke, then I
What
suck.
was the joke?
Apparently
The joke
it
was
wasn't.
he wasn't paying attention.
Oh. It was really well.
And then I
Well,
made
really
a
well
joke
done.
later,
You do good work.
and you questioned me.
No, I
and
like-
now I don't give you the joke when you actually want it.
I liked News
What do you
2
want?
a lot. I thought News 2 was very good.
I want humor, and I want it all the time. I need you to be on point 24/7.
Are you guys familiar with Louis, the show?
I'm familiar with Louis
Like Louis
Anderson, but not the
CK?
show.
Yeah.
Oh, Louis.
Yeah.
Passingly.
I think the episode's hilarious when he goes into this like meeting and he's pitching the show or whatever, and David Lynch is the producer that he's pitching to, and David Lynch is like, "Be funny," and then like under the pressure, like he can't be funny, but he's just like, "You're a comedian, be funny." It's hilarious. It's so uncomfortable because that show is just that all the time,
Right.
but it's great.
Interesting.
Go watch
So
it.
you're basically trying to say you're Louis C.K. right now.
I'll warn all the women in the office.
You're just having.
Well, I'm
I'll
telling
touch
you
your
to be
feet.
funny, and you're not being funny.
I'll touch your feet.
Okay, I don't know what I'm...
Stop now.
All right, so Vinny has another character quiz for us. Are we ready?
I know one.
I know one. Simon
There's
Belmont.
one
Wait, do I need to get
There's
the,
only one I'm questionable about, I think.
I need to get the document up. So go ahead.
Yeah, sure. All right, number one, Simon Belmont. What game is he from?
He is from
1, 2, 3.
Castlevania.
Okay. Number. Hang on. Number two, Dominic Santiago and Damon Baird. Okay.
I don't know.
I'm guessing it's a Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. No. What?
Gears of War.
Is it Gears of War?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
wow, look at me being a
So
total
yes,
idiot.
Castlevania is the first one, correct, and the second one is Gears of War 2/3. If you want to be very, very,
I think Dom's in the first one. Though,
I
isn't
don't
he?
know.
I don't know.
I've played the first part of Gears of War, like the first part of the first game.
Are you
like
playing the remastered
75
one?
times. No.
Oh,
I've-
you need to play the
yeah.
remastered one. It's fantastic.
yeah.
3, Frank Fontaine.
I don't know.
BioShock?
Oh, I believe it is BioShock. Yeah.
You might be right. I'll look.
Yeah. Well, you need to look.
It
Somebody
is.
needs to tell
It
us.
is BioShock.
All right. Number 4, Naru, Kuro, and Gumo. I'm guessing Nino Kuni. I'm totally wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Do you know?
This is the one I'm kind of questionable.
Well,
I
what do you
don't-
want to
I
guess?
don't really,
You don't want to
I
guess?
don't really
Okay, so
know.
the answer is Adam.
Oh no!
Oh,
I know what it
Adam.
is. It's Oh my God! Hang on.
It's like Adam's
Don't tell
favorite
me.
game ever.
Why am I losing this right now?
We'll skip this right now. We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Number 5 is
Ori.
There you
And
go.
the Flying Forest. Sorry.
Wrong.
No, it was right.
You're too late. It's right, but
Oh,
you're too
God.
late.
Clementine and Lee.
Ooh, I got that one.
Is it? Go ahead.
Walking Dead.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Ooh, I know this one too.
I know this one too. Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Borderlands.
All right.
God, Claptrap is.
Yeah, Claptrap's amazing.
Go look on the internet and look up like Claptrap more wub wub. It's like my favorite video of all
yeah.
time.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
It was kind of like some of the teaser trailers for BioShock 2.
Yeah.
it's real funny.
Yeah, because they're like
Borderlands.
more
Sorry, yeah,
guns,
yeah.
more
Borderlands.
this, more that, more and more wub.
more wub wub.
Yeah.
And then he
It's
just
like,
like breaks
whoa,
down into this like,
whoa.
whoa. It's real good. Yeah, it's real
Nice.
good.
Number 7, Eddie Riggs.
I don't know.
Brutal Legend.
Oh, it's been a while since I
Never
played that
played it.
game. Brutal
played
Legend's
it.
good. We actually have a question about Brutal Legend later. It's good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Number 8, Jimmy Hopkins,
I don't know this one either.
Spider-Man.
What?
I don't know.
Bully.
I never played Bully
I
either.
never played that.
That's a game that I wish would get. I think it just got remastered, but I want it to be redone.
Exactly.
Because I hear great things about it, but I'm not going to play a 2006.
So I played it when it was.
It's a PS2 game.
Yeah, and I played it remastered on the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
And it wasn't fun.
And it was absolutely great, but it definitely needs the.
It just gave it a fresh coat of paint. And
It needs the
retool
polish
everything.
treatment, and like the rebuilt treatment.
Sure.
Gotcha.
Rebuilding.
Number 9, Cole Phelps.
God, this one is right there for me,
Cole
but I can't
Phelps.
remember who it is. You know who it is?
It's another Rockstar game.
Oh, I don't
I'm
know.
going to guess Red Dead Redemption.
L.A. Noire.
L.A. Noire. I played about 45 minutes of that game and didn't like it.
I
so.
love that
I
game.
loved it.
I play again, but I'm the same as you. I played like maybe 2 hours of it.
For
but I
some
really liked it, I
reason,
just never
could not
finished it.
get the watch these people do their thing and wait for their winky face. So
Wait for their facial tics.
Because I like watch it. I'm like, I don't know, and then I guess they're like, that's wrong, and I'm like, this one they're like, that's also wrong. I'm like, I don't think I'm good at this game.
You're just a bad investigator.
Yeah, they're like, maybe you should
You're a
go back to
crocodile.
like writing speeding tickets, buddy.
Right.
So, all right, number 10.
Last one, number 10. Bill Francis Lewis and Zoe.
I know this one. Do
Bill
you?
Francis Lewis and Zoe.
1, 2, 3.
Left 4 Dead.
Oh, okay.
Bill also.
I never played it.
Oh dang! Left 4 Dead is so good, so good. I used to play it. Me and my brother used to play it together when my kid was really, really young, like 2 or 3, like probably too young to be. And he wasn't playing it, but he'd like be in the room. And
Is it like a survival game?
It's a zombie. So it's a 4-player co-op game where you're in a city trying to get from essentially like point to point in order to get out of the city, and it's zombie hordes. So you'll fight there'll be zombies everywhere, but then you'll set off a car alarm or you'll set off something, and you'll just get like chased by what feels like hundreds of zombies, which is probably actually like 40, but it's really intense. But there's zombies called witches in the game.
Witches.
I think, and you can hear witches because they cry. They sound like they're crying.
And you
have to sneak past them because if you don't, they'll start just screaming, and that'll call it a zombie horde.
God.
as well as they're really aggressive,
And they're
mean
super aggressive, but.
That sounds kind of creepy.
Me and my brother were playing and didn't think he was really paying that much attention. And he's like, Dad, I think that's a witch. You should be careful. I'm like, oh, I'm a terrible parent.
Yeah, time to go to bed.
Oh, well. He's grown up just fine. And now would be absolutely terrified of Left
If
4
you
Dead.
were on Twitch right now, you'd see us throw air quotes up around just fine.
He's just fine.
Kidding. All right, there's that. There's our quiz for the week. Thank you, Vinny.
Good stuff, Vinny.
Yeah. Excuse me as I die. All right, up next, Seth Harker. Why is his name clickable? Oh, we can see. Oh,
Because I
look
pasted
what
it
you
in from
did.
Facebook.
Hi,
Yeah.
Seth. The hair is amazing.
I didn't actually look.
Dude. I would kill for that hair. Are you kidding
It's
me?
good hair. It's good hair. He looks like he stepped right out of that new Battle Royale game from.
Oh, yeah.
What's that called?
Uh,
Whatever. Cliffy B's Battle Royale
Yeah,
game.
it was
yeah.
really forgettable. I tried it.
Oh, really? The game looks great.
Yeah, I've heard also that it's not
But
great.
the hair is not forgettable.
But anyway.
Good job, Seth. All right, Seth wants to know, have you heard about or played the game Time Shift? That was such a good game, but he never hears any talk about it. Have you guys ever heard of or played this game?
No.
I feel like I've heard. I'm clicking the link now.
I put it in just so he could have heard about it somewhere, but the answer is no.
Oh, okay. So it came out in 2007.
I totally remember the artwork for this game.
Yeah.
Like I remember the cover art. Like totally.
It's got pretty decent reviews. I mean,
yeah.
it mid-7s on Metacritic, so
That's not bad. So it came out in 2007. It's a first-person shooter from Saber Interactive, published by Sierra Entertainment. This is all from the wiki, wiki page. And Sierra, are they even still around?
No, they went out of business.
And they're the ones who
no, Sierra on.
I can't remember. I know that they published all the Kings.
All the King's Quest games.
Yeah.
Tons of great.
All those point-and-clicky kind of games from way back.
90s.
So came out on Windows, PS3, and the Xbox 360. It came out on the Xbox Live Marketplace. Yeah.
Apparently, Sierra is still in business.
Oh, good for
I
them.
have played the demo for this game because it was included in an issue of Xbox Official Magazine when
there
they
you
used to
go.
give you the discs. So I have played the demo, and I do remember it being fun. Of course, any shooter that came out in the Xbox era was
pretty
honestly pretty good, and I loved all of them because I think that's just what you had, and you loved it no matter what.
Yeah,
I was much less picky about games.
Yeah.
And I want to say now that I'm reading about the gameplay, because the key feature in Time Shift, according to the gameplay section on their wiki page, is the player's ability to control time, slowing, stopping, or even rewinding time more or less at will. I want to say I remember when this game came out, they were really talking that part of it up because it wasn't a bullet time thing.
Right.
It was like you could actually manipulate time forward and backward.
So this is
And a first-person shooter.
outside of that. This is actually kind of interesting. So Sierra Online, which was the predecessor to Sierra Entertainment, all that stuff, was bought out by a company in 1996, and that company was then acquired by another company, which became Vivendi Games eventually. And then Vivendi was acquired and merged with Activision, and Sierra Online was dissolved in 2014. But they relaunched it. They relaunched it in 2014 as kind of a publishing arm for the old King's Quest game. They actually bought out a new King's Quest game that's actually really good.
Oh, wow.
And a couple other things, but it's actually based in Bellevue. So
Oh, wow, that's
yeah,
really
they're
cool.
local. I didn't know.
Wow, yeah. Now that I've read this, I kind of want to see if maybe they're going to offer backwards compatibility for it, since it is a 360 game
It very easily could be
on the
yeah.
Xbox.
That'd be fun.
That'd be really cool. Thanks for bringing that game to our attention, Seth.
Yeah,
that looks
good
really
stuff.
cool. All right, up next, Garrett has a question for us about Microsoft. Will they shut down Halo Online despite its booming population?
So this is really interesting. So Halo Online was a Halo game based off of Halo 3 released in Russia exclusively. And kind of was a thing, and then they killed it. It wasn't really made by Microsoft. It wasn't really made by I guess at that time it probably would have been BioWare, or not BioWare, folks that do Destiny, whatever. Them.
Bethesda?
No, not Bethesda.
No.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. So it was made by this
Why am I
third-party
blanking?
company. They launched. It was interesting, cool idea, whatever. But then it got shut down, and it was kind of a thing that people outside of Russia were using like VPNs to get into because it was just a fun way to play Halo, and Halo 3 had kind of a good thing going, and whatever. And so some modders, and it's a mod community called El Dorado, I guess, kind of like El Dorado.
That's kind of cool.
Have like resurrected this thing from the dead, and they've actually got it up and running. And there's server browsers, and you can go on and play this kind of cool Halo Online based off Halo 3 game. And so far, I mean, it's been up and running now for like 3 or 4 days, and so far Microsoft hasn't said anything about it. And it's 100% violating all sorts of intellectual property
Right.
and so on and so forth. And so there's this kind of like, are they gonna take it down? Are they not? And I mean, they'd be well within their rights to, but lately Microsoft's been kind of like
Microsoft kind of
cool
needs
dad gamer.
and they
right?
also need all the help they can get this
Yeah.
generation. So it's like any.
But I mean, you
news
also
is-
know that Halo 6 is coming out soon. I bet Halo 6 gets announced at E3. And so, are they going to let this live? Are they? So, I mean, I don't know the answer to the question, but it sure is an interesting development.
I mean, it might be cool just to see. Maybe they're just kind of watching to see how it goes and see how
Right.
it plays and see what people think of it, and either trying to find a way to acquire it themselves and bring
Exactly.
it into their own
Yeah.
fold, or take notice of how it's going, do all the things that aren't working correct,
Yep.
and make them correct along with
Yeah.
all the things that are working, and then shut them down
But
after they
apparently
say
a bunch
thanks
of
for the
people
idea,
are playing
guys."
it too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a really interesting idea. I'm very something I want to keep an eye on because it's such an interesting thing.
I mean, those really good Halos. Like, those multiplayer experiences were great. So
Yeah.
it's not surprising that would be
I never played a Halo game.
successful.
I think I played some of the first Halo.
I've
or
beat the
second.
first one, but I've not played any of them past that. So, and I know I keep wanting to go back and play 5, and I hear 5's not good. So I don't know. Someday.
All right. Well, thank you, Garrett, for that. Up next, Joe Coleslaw. He wants to know, are there any games that have a soundtrack that is so spot on, every song has a purpose and sets the tone for what you're about to do? His example would be Brutal Legend, using the intro of Two Children of the Grave looped until you attack your first enemy, then rolling into the song. Classic. Side note, when will we get a remaster of Brutal Legend? I hope Double Fine is into it.
Yeah. So
first part of the question, games with a soundtrack that are just like perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I talk about Abzu all the time. I think Abzu had a terrific soundtrack that just matched up incredibly well with the game itself. Doom has...
The soundtrack's incredible.
It's so good, and it's exactly what you want from a Doom game. And it does such a good job of making that game feel far more, I think, frantic than it actually is. Well, maybe not more so than it actually is, but it sets the mood very well for that.
Totally.
I think the intro to Burnout Paradise is so good. Like, well,
the soundtrack to Burnout Paradise is basically now anachronistic as that soundtrack is, because there's still some classic songs on there, and when they come on and the right song starts at the beginning of the right race, and it just makes the whole game. It's perfect.
I've been really enjoying the music in Far Cry 5. You have to be kind of into that kind of music, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like very fighty sections that they like. The plus side is like the music kicks in, you're like, oh, this is awesome. And it works a lot of the time as long as the fight doesn't go on too long. But I've been in a couple of them where you're like, the one guy you have to kill to end this section, just like, I don't know, random. Well, he just walked off into the woods. I'm like, where'd that dude go? So you have to go like, you have to hunt him down and then kill him, and then the music ends. I'm like, this music was really cool for the first 2 minutes of that fight, and then kind of dragged on. And I think the only other one I would say is not music, but overall sound design. Inside was absolutely insanely well done.
And if you want to go more towards sound design, you got to check out Hellblade.
Yeah, I need to. That's on my list.
A lot of the music in God of War 3, basically the whole God of War series, the music in those games, it matches the epicness of all the fighting and all the set pieces.
I think
and
it's
stuff.
true about Destiny as well.
Yeah,
Destiny has
Destiny's
great
got a pretty
music.
good soundtrack.
Marty, whatever his name is a really good composer. He did all the Halo music too.
Marty McMartinson.
Sure, that guy.
Marty O'Donnell.
Dylan, do you have a soundtrack game that just speaks to you perfectly?
You know, I think Brutal Legend is a very interesting choice for this, just because it's a game that's set in this like metal universe where everything is just metal. So like all these metal songs are a part of it. Like it's cool, and I don't think most like other games like the soundtrack is on the radio, but this game actually like I don't know, like
incorporates them.
It's part of that game.
I don't remember what
way.
part of it is. I played that game for a while, and I didn't put a ton of time into it, maybe 3 or 4 hours. But I remember some Black Sabbath song came in, and just like this awesome part. I'm like, oh man, you just can't beat that.
And it's just it being a part of the game is more interesting than I could say like how cool the Grand Theft Auto soundtracks are on the radio stations. Like that's cool, but it's just it's cool
just
songs. So
filler.
And I think the answer to the second question is when he first said it, like, Brutal Legends doesn't need a remake. That game's relatively new, right? And apparently, no, it came out in 2009. It probably could use a remake. I did see today that Tim Schafer is Tim Schafer is the kind of head of Double Fine, but was also big in like the LucasArts games in the 90s. Double Fine did the new version of Full Throttle. And he said that he would love to redo a bunch of old LucasArts games. So maybe he could get on a little bit of redoing Brutal Legend. Although my guess is that would be hard from a music licensing perspective. You'd probably have to relicense all that music, which would be hard.
Well, now I'm just gonna have to go back and try this game.
It's fun. You hate Jack Black though, so maybe it's not your jam.
Oh yeah, no, I'm out.
Yeah.
Done.
It's all right.
It's super good though.
It's real fun.
And it's weird because it's like this action beat 'em up. Like I mean, God of War or. What's the Darksiders kind of like? It's that kind of like hack and slash, like run around, beat 'em up. But then it also
is it a 3D world?
Yeah.
Or
and then towards the end, it like turns into like this tower defense beat 'em up, like because it has this whole like god element to it, like the rock gods kind of thing. So it's
a wacky game. It's fun
wacky.
though.
It's super cool though.
And Jack Black, like, love him or hate him, that's fine. If you don't like him, that's whatever. But he was the perfect casting for that character.
It's like School of Rock. It's just like he fits in that game, like in that role, because like that is Jack Black. Like Jack Black is Eddie Riggs. It's like the character's not. Yeah, they're synonymous.
But I mean, we can also
other.
be honest. It's a 9-year-old game. There's probably a bunch of other games that are more recent that you should play.
Okay,
so.
true. So back to Far Cry 5 really quick.
Yes.
So remember I was saying...
No, I'm fine going back to Far Cry 5 all the time.
This is completely out of nowhere. Remember how I was saying I couldn't beat John Seed in the plane?
Yeah.
And you can't stop that mission. Once you're in that boss fight, you're in that boss fight. You can't cancel out of it. You can't kick out of it.
Really?
I could not get out of it because I wanted to go finish that one outpost, liberate that, get the dude's wife so he could go get the plane and do the thing. So I couldn't get out of the fight.
Yeah.
So I looked up an exploit on YouTube. I'm like, how do I beat this guy if it's just me? If you start the fight, have him chase you, and before your plane blows up from him shooting you, parachute out into a densely forested area.
Yeah.
Get in there, and he will circle above you and keep going lower and lower.
Oh, you can just shoot him with your machine gun?
No. He'll keep circling lower and lower, dropping on you, and then eventually we'll get stuck in the trees. He got stuck in the trees. I got up to him, and I sat there. I had to sit there for about 5 minutes unloading bullets into this guy's head. And
That's amazing.
He ends up popping out of the plane, standing next to it, and then I just one-shotted him. He was dead.
That's amazing.
And that's how I beat that.
I love that. I think that's actually one of my favorite parts of that game because like the physics are just wackadoo in that game, and the enemy AI and the animal AI and whatever is when you get to the point on so each of the 3 areas, you'll get to the point where they're like, you're being hunted. And at first they send bad guys after you, and then they send dudes in helicopters, and then they send out dudes in airplanes. And the airplanes kind of suck because they're hard to shoot down, and they'll both strafe you with bullets and they'll bomb you. But in the 3rd area, there's a lot of it that's just like these sheer rock cliff faces. So every once in a while, especially when you spawn into an area, you'll spawn in, and all of a sudden a plane will just fly by and just slam into the side of the mountain. You're like, oh, hey.
Boom.
It's happening probably 4 or 5 times. It's
that
wacky.
game is great.
Yeah, it's really fun.
All right, back to this last question from Mansocks. Always the most important question of the week. What is your favorite flavor of jelly bean?
Grass.
What?
Well, thanks for listening to the show, folks. No, that's a real flavor, though, from Jelly Belly, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it taste like grass?
I'm not going to say it actually is my favorite, but like I was surprised that it one, it kind of tastes like grass, and 2, it wasn't that bad.
Interesting.
Right.
Interesting. Probably my favorite like normie jelly bean is I really like the black ones.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Licorice?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Is that what flavor they are? I like black licorice a lot too, though. So, it's the only real licorice.
Well, that's our show, folks.
Yeah. I actually don't like jelly beans like at all. I don't really want them.
I like the Starburst jelly beans a lot. Like the Starburst brand ones. They're like super fruit flavory. Yeah, they're good.
The black pepper one's terrible.
Ooh.
You think?
Yeah.
I like if we're talking about
buttered popcorn.
I was going to say Jelly Belly's buttered popcorn is so good, and their strawberry daiquiri is really, really good too.
So my mom hates the buttered popcorn ones. And I don't know why we did it, but we'd be like, eating some jelly. She's like, oh, can I have some? I'm like, here, Mom, have this. And she's like, isn't that the popcorn? I'm like, nah, it's lemon. She's like, oh, okay. And she'd eat it. Oh, it's buttered popcorn. Blah. And like 30 seconds would go by, and we're like, here, have some Jelly Belly. She's like, isn't that the popcorn one? I'm like, no, it's some other yellow flavored. It's popcorn.
Okay, well,
we did it for like an hour.
The first time you do it, you're kind
Shame on her.
No, you're kind of a dick. She's going to do it. The second time, she's going to believe her child.
It was just hilarious because she'd come back like 5 minutes later and I don't know, have blinked and forgotten that like that buttered popcorn Jelly Belly is the thing. We're like, here, no, that one's a pear one.
Oh, the pear ones are
pear
good
ones
too.
are delicious, by the way. But I mean, I think we could still do it to her. It would be funny.
So mean.
Yeah, I'll have my brother try and give her some Jelly Bellies. It'd be funny.
Okay.
Something's wrong with Dylan.
Well, there we go.
I think Dylan broke.
There's your questions. Thank you, Mansocks, Joe, Coleslaw, Garrett, Seth, and Vinny.
I don't know what Mansocks' favorite Jelly Belly is, or Jelly Bean is. I'll have to ask.
Oh, yeah, he didn't answer. He usually
answers.
He usually has a follow-up with that. All right, let's get into some cheap free games right quick like. Games with Gold for May has been announced, correct?
It has, yeah.
All right, up first, Super Mega Baseball 2.
I don't know if that's good or not.
I don't know where the first one came from.
Yeah.
Or went.
Yeah.
Or if it just didn't actually happen, kind of like how they end up, what is the Battlefront or Battlefield ones now? It's like just Battlefield.
Exactly, yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, which was a PS Plus game last
probably
year.
a year ago, yeah.
Last year. So if you got a PS4, you've already got that. But if you don't have a PS4 and an Xbox and you want to play it,
this will be the third copy of this game I own because I bought it.
I've never
and
played
then
it.
I haven't either. And then 3 weeks later, it came as a PS Plus game, and then now it's on the Xbox. I've heard it is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I've heard. I don't
and
think
it's
I've
not that
ever
old.
heard.
What, 2015?
Yeah, end of 2015 too. So it's pretty new.
Yeah.
Kind of. It's supposed to be great. I just have never played it. So I've never played a Metal Gear Solid game at all.
Me either.
Yeah.
The fourth one was really good.
They're all super stealthy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Or can be.
I would challenge anyone to go back and play the old ones because it was a very weird mechanic where you could only move. It was like a 2-dimensional game, but in a 3D space. It's very kind of hard to explain.
Oh, weird.
Where you could only move in certain directions in the map, but you could see more. Like it was really bizarre, and I think on Metal Gear Solid 3 they changed it and allowed you to actually freely move around in 3-dimensional space. When they did like the updated version, that was a big deal, and made the game playable. Because I found it incredibly frustrating even at the time when games had much jankier mechanics normally and you were kind of used to it, but it was frustrating. And then Metal Gear Solid 4 was just like open third person move around the world, and it was awesome.
But this franchise has been around for what, 20 years?
A long time. I don't know about that long, but a long time.
I want to say it debuted on the original PlayStation.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Is original PlayStation games 20 years old now?
They're 21 years old.
God, I'm so old.
21 or 20.
Yeah, that's true.
24 years old.
Because I sold them I sold them when I worked retail when I was 19. So
that came out. That came out in 94, 95. The first Metal Gear. All right.
Dang. I gotta say, Kojima looks good for a dude who's been making video games for 22 years.
True. Up next, the game everybody has been waiting for. Thank God it's free. Sega Vintage Collection, Streets of Rage.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
I do love Streets of Rage.
I do
It's
too.
kind of fun.
Oh, it's so good.
Is Streets of Rage the one where you save the president at the end?
I don't think I've ever played
maybe.
that far.
I'm not sure.
No, maybe. I don't know, because there was
Like
also Bad Dudes, and Bad
no,
Dudes
it's Bad
just
Dudes
came
where
out.
you save Ronald Reagan at the end.
Oh my God.
Let's go get a cheeseburger.
And finally, in your games with gold for May is Vanquish.
Vanquish looks real good. It was made by Platinum, the folks who make a bunch of other games.
Thank you for that detailed analysis.
Platinum made Bayonetta.
They made
did
Bayonetta.
The Wonderful 101.
Yeah, they made a bunch of other things.
Love the Wonderful 101.
Yeah,
Game was cool.
They
Such
made
a
parts
good
of
game.
Nier Automata.
Nier Automata?
Automata.
Wow,
So this game actually
Autonomous robot.
this game actually looks pretty cool. It's got a 78 on Metacritic, so probably worth a play.
I watched the trailer to this when this was announced, so
Yeah,
I
looks
know
good.
that game.
Looks
Cool.
good.
So there are your cheap free games, your games with gold for May on the Xbox, and those are going to show up on Tuesday the 1st, is what I'm guessing.
Yes, correct.
Sure, let's go with that.
Yep.
All right,
It's
that's
only the
that.
PlayStation when you have to do weird math for.
Well, and I'm doing the weird math for that because that'll also be Tuesday the 1st.
Oh yes.
Yeah, have they announced those yet?
They have not.
How have they not? It's less than a week away.
PlayStation, man,
You're not
follow
on it.
those rules even when those rules don't really align with what's convenient for the rest of the world.
All right, let's wrap this up with Troll Corner Part 2. Rockstar has announced the GTA 5 Premium Online Edition.
I saw this thing and I'm like, oh,
Gotta
hey,
be
that's
kidding me.
cool. Like they're finally to get around to effectively like their Game of the Year edition. This game came out 5 years ago. Like it's time, right? Package everything up together and sell it at a price that makes sense.
Nope.
Sell it at a price that's retail for GTA 5. Nope.
So okay. Before we get into this, does this include all DLC, everything possible that
There's
could come
never
with
been
it?
any
There's
DLC.
never been DLC.
Really?
So what you get is
Oh my
you get Grand Theft Auto, and then you get Grand Theft Auto Online, but including every single piece of content that came with it up until now, which is great. I mean, it essentially means you don't have to download it because it's all free anyway.
You don't have to pay for this stuff.
Yeah, but then you also get the starter pack that comes, it's the Criminal Enterprise pack, which comes with a bunch of stuff, including $1 million in-game money, which sounds like a ton, and depending on how you play, may be a ton of money. But you also have to remember, like, a house in that game can cost $250,000 or $500,000, or tricking out a motorcycle club can cost $750,000. Like, $1 million is not a ton of money, and if you die a lot in that game too, you have to pay a hospital fee every time you like, you have to, if you own a house, you have to pay rent. If you own a car, you have to pay insurance. So like, I burned through like $200,000 in that game in a weekend one time.
Wow.
So it's great, but that's not a ton of money.
Right.
But pricing
So
for this is amazing.
Now, before we get into the pricing, keep in mind that Grand Theft Auto 5 holds like the place of making more money than any book, any film, or any game.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, what?
I mean, probably not adjusted. Maybe not adjusted for inflation.
Well,
but
I mean, because how much have they made?
$6
billion.
Yeah. But also keep in mind that GTA came out in 2013.
Yeah, this game's 5 years old.
It's 5 years old, but has been on the top 10 bestseller list on the NDP
ever since it came out
for, I think, 37 of the last 41 months or something.
That's ridiculous.
So, I mean, that game retails for $60. Like,
Still.
you pay $60 for that game unless you buy it on sale. If you go check the digital store right now, the game's probably $60.
It is $60.
It's
I saw it
absolutely
last night
insane.
on the PS4 store.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
let's get into the pricing, keeping in mind that this game has made already $6 billion. Go.
So the online edition for the Xbox and PS4 will be $79.99. Wow. If you want to get that game on Steam, it is $84.99.
So why is it $80 for the physical and $85 for the Steam?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
The digital. That's crazy.
And I mean, that may not be a physical, that Xbox.
A premium online edition, $80 for a physical Xbox One or PS4
Oh, yeah,
version.
you're right. I missed that. Yeah.
Physical copy of it is cheaper than the digital version.
But I mean, the reality is you can go to any store right now and buy GTA 5 and it'll probably be $35-$40, and the digital's always $60. And I mean, and the actual, I guess, answer to that is, or the reason maybe that digital games tend to be more expensive than physical games is that you don't have to clear out shelf space.
So maybe they'll be able to go, hey, look, it's on sale now.
I guess.
Eventually.
Yeah, it'll probably be $45. Absolutely insane. That comes as someone who loves Grand Theft Auto, but like, good Lord, it's time to drop the price on that game.
Yeah, I'm just confused at what it offers that's
literally absolutely nothing. Nothing that a little download time and buying the Criminal Enterprise pack, which you can just buy, would get you. I don't understand why this wasn't their opportunity to say, like, hey, we're going to release this. It's going to be $30 or $35. And I mean, Grand Theft Auto Online is broken. It's fun. If you can get it working, it's so fun. But it is so janky and silly and broken. It's absolutely insane.
And they're going to charge you a premium.
For it.
Get ready.
Yeah.
I'm glad I own it already.
Right? It's great. I mean, like, I just finished playing it maybe 2 months ago. It's a super fun game, but come on.
They have a Battle Royale mode yet?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. That's all I care about. I'm kidding.
Came out about 2 months ago.
Okay, well, thank you, you turds, for that.
You're all turd burglars.
Right. Is that it?
I think that's it.
That is it.
Yeah. I don't know. It felt real fast. I don't know if I just talked real quick or what.
No, we got through it.
Sometimes it works that way.
Go team.
Yay.
All right. Reminder, if you're in the Pacific Northwest this weekend, we're going to be in Renton at the Renton City Retro Con. It's a fun little collection of just retro enthusiasts and some just fun booths and stuff and things, and we're going to be there. Yeah,
we Adam and I went last year and was thinking that it would be something that we'd go to for, an hour, and we ended up spending 4 hours there.
Yeah, because we got there, you got into the
Rocket League tournament.
I spent some more time, went and met some friends.
Yeah.
Had a few beers or cocktails and then came back.
It is right down the road from both, the 8-bit?
8-bit, and there's a couple other pubs and stuff right down the street. And then I came back and made some purchases.
Yeah. Got himself. Have you played any more of Beautiful Joe yet?
Yeah.
Nice.
Not much, but I have. Excuse me. Yeah. So anyway, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, come see us this Saturday.
Yeah, do it.
Come see Dylan's Top Knot.
Get some stickers.
Do it.
Other than that, find us online at all our social medias at Bite Me Podcast, BYTE Me Podcast.com is our website. /Humble, we are an official Humble Bundle partner, which I don't know if you noticed, Humble Bundle just put up a Capcom PlayStation
I forgot.
bundle.
I meant to add that to the show notes. There's some good stuff in that, too.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk about it next week. It should still be up.
Yeah, it should still be up. But if you're into it, just go check it out right now because there's some really cool Capcom stuff. And you don't see a lot of PlayStation. You don't see a lot of console bundles.
I think this is the third one I've ever seen. There's been, I think there's been
bought
3
one of them.
PlayStation and 1 Nintendo one.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so that's that. And find us on Discord. Ask us your questions. We've got a God of War channel that we're talking about spoilery-ish stuff in there. Is that it? I think that's it.
I think so.
I think that's it.
That's it?
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. All right, Dylan.
Bite me.